What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode on Proven Power Cycles. For those who don't know me, my name is Eric. There's Daryl. Here's Lewis. So today, we got a Kawasaki ZX-4RR. So this bike already has a full M4 exhaust system and a Canon air filter that the dealership already installed. So this bike is from a dealership, and they know about us. They're actually local to Florida, not really Tampa Bay, but Florida, and they've known about us for years, and they're wanting to do a little bit more work with us hand in hand with their bikes. So this is one of the bikes that they recommended to us, and here we go. So this is the first one that we are finally able to ECU flash and dyno tune. We've had a customer in the past. Long story short, it ended up not going through. He ended up selling the bike before we could even really start on it. So finally, we are able to get one and tinker with it and see what this thing can do. Now, from what we've seen, final numbers, these things are producing like low 70 horsepower, like 71, 72, 74, I think is some of the ones that we've seen. Now, they're not very common bikes. These are more of a rarity, at least in our area. I have yet to see another one since that previous customer of ours until now. So very, very curious to see what it does. Now, with that being said, this one is or has a silencer that the dealership installed, okay? Now, we're gonna baseline it with the silencer installed, just so you guys know. And then what we're gonna do is, after we baseline it with the silencer installed, we're gonna remove the silencer, rerun the bike, and see what it produces with that silencer removed, and get you a new baseline number, and then we'll actually do some tuning on this bad boy. So I'm expecting some decent numbers out of this thing. I'm really excited to see what this thing's gonna do. The only other thing that I want you guys to take note, and I'm saying this right now, it's a pain in the butt to actually get a RPM pickup, which is gonna kind of mess with our torque numbers, okay? So during this video, as we're running it and all that jazz and we're getting our torque numbers, don't be surprised if the torque isn't super accurate, okay? That's the only thing, that's the only disclosure I'm gonna say, because again, to get the pickup, the ECU is located on top, and honestly, the way we have to kind of finagle the tank, it's really difficult to get it to work. I'm sure we could, but we are strapped for time right now. Our dyno has been down for about 5 days. We're very backlogged and we are strapped for time. So with that being said, we're gonna kind of hurry up this process. We're gonna kind of make it a little quicker. So again, the torque numbers and the RPM might be just a smidge off. It's not the end of the world. Don't freak out. I know we're gonna have some comments in there like, oh, that's ridiculous. Chill. The biggest thing that we're really trying to look for is the horsepower, the before and the after, okay? The differences between before and after is the key component to take away from this, all right? With that being said, let's get this thing warmed up. Let's see what it does. Yay! 392 miles. Hell yeah, that's badass. All right, guys, so we got the baseline done. We just got done pulling the silencer out, as you can see here. We got done yanking it out, and we're gonna do another baseline on this bad boy, okay? Just got done putting the bench, or a base map I should say, into the bike. more or less all we did was de-restrict it, turn off the emission sensors, all the basic stuff that you normally do whenever you do a mail-in flash. That's basically what we've done to this so far. After we run this, we did a major change to the throttle mapping, and I don't mean just the restriction up top, because there is a throttle restriction up top. Not just that, but we've also highly modified this throttle mapping just in general. So I'm gonna run it through first, and then again, we're gonna build the map up. This is normally how we do our process. We always kind of build the map. We see kind of how the overall curve look. What we wanna see is a nice linear curve, okay? We'll go over the graph. We're gonna go over all that stuff at the end of the video, and I'm gonna show you kind of what I'm doing more or less to show you kind of how the curve looks and what I'm targeting and what I'm aiming to do, okay? So let me start this bad boy back up, run it again. We got that 4RR knocked out. Now we talked to the dealer who they came and picked it up and all that jazz. So very happy. I haven't heard yet from them. I don't know if the customer has the bike back yet or not, but I really want to go over the numbers. This bike was a lot of fun. I really wish we had more time. I really wish we had a little bit more freedom, I guess you could say, to do a little bit more work to it. But again, that's just me being selfish. I wish we had one of our customers kind of let us have a little bit of free reign on it and let us go really through the bike, because again, I enjoy finding power, I enjoy making power, and I know how my dyno reads. I know it's a little bit on the stingy side, but all in all, it's cool to get the data because I know there's ways of making it better, right? So anyway, but with that being said, let's go over the numbers and let's see how it all came out, all right? All right, so what I'm gonna show you first are the baselines. So the bike came in with the M4 exhaust, and we left the silencer in on this main baseline. We left the silencer in, and then we pulled the silencer out of the M4 exhaust, okay? So the main baseline, we did 55, almost 56 with 25 pound-foot of torque. Now again, this torque number might be off just a smidge because of the way we had to more or less manually calculate this. Now we also have a very lean enrichment here on the lower going into mid-range RPM. I mean, almost a 15.0. Basically it was 15.0 air fuel. That's really lean. 15.3. Very lean, and then we get pretty good as we go in the higher RPM, and then it just goes pig rich. It just dumps a ton of fuel, which this is very common on the majority of the bikes nowadays. It usually goes pig rich while they're closing the throttle plates down. Believe it or not, this has restrictions, which I can't believe this came with restrictions, but it did. So the blue line here is the baseline, the main baseline, and the red line is without the silencer, okay? We took the silencer out and then we re-baselined it. So all in all, it picked up a couple of horsepower here, about 1 horsepower. Here it picked up about 3 horsepower all in all with the silencer removed, okay? We're a big advocate on taking those silencers out, especially on bikes that make a little bit more power, that flow a little bit more. I do advocate for that. And then, so anyway, we'll take this one out, and then we'll now compare the baseline to the final. So we ended at 72 wheel horsepower with almost 27 pound-foot of torque. And look at the differences here in the mid-range. We picked up a solid 6 wheel. Now, for those of you who follow my channel, and you guys know this, I always talk about this, at 6% rate of change, we're gonna see a pretty damn, that's a butt dyno's going, wow, this is awesome. Here we're closer to about 12 to 14% on the rate of change, and that's at 9,500 RPM. That's pretty massive, to be honest with you. That is gonna be a very noticeable change, very noticeable. But look at this upper RPM range when we were able to finally free it all up. We went from 49 horsepower to 72 wheel horsepower. You're talking about differences of 44% on your rate of change. Massive. Again, absolutely massive change. Huge change. And like we said earlier in the video, you know, this is a typical number that we've seen from other tuners, was around the 72 wheel horsepower. So, and we hit the same number, which again, this is for a filter and exhaust system. That's about, you know, about normal. And here we went from 17 pound-foot of torque to 26. So again, just insane differences on the torque. Also, just huge differences. I honestly, I'm gonna reach out to that dealer and ask them. Now, the air fuel, we were getting a lot of inconsistencies with the air fuel. Now, this is an exploded view. The higher I raise this, the more of an imperfection that you're gonna see throughout the RPM here. So you're gonna see some fluctuations, and there's also some areas that I can't touch because they're just inaccessible to the ECU. And the other thing, like I said, I want you to keep in mind of is we had to kind of manually calculate this out. The way we were doing it is basically off of gear ratio, and we're trying to calculate the gear ratio, but because it revs so high, it's really difficult to make sure that all the RPMs are in the correct spot. So more or less, imagine you're trying to make changes to a tune and you're given some very general directions. Imagine you're trying to get directions to go somewhere and somebody's like, all right, in about 200 feet, make a left. And you're like, oh shit, I don't know, I mean, maybe this is 200 feet, you know, and then they're like, all right, in about another 1,000 feet, you're gonna make a slight right. And you're like, oh shit. So it's kind of like that. We're not necessarily in the dark completely, but we are making changes based on an incorrect data entry. So where we might see a lean spot at 5,000 RPM, it might actually be at like 4,600 RPM. So that's why you're seeing kind of like those little blips here and there. We're making a lot of guesses on that air fuel or on that fuel change. So honestly, and not only that, but this is also, it was also a drive-by-wire bike. So you're also seeing kind of the way it works. It doesn't go to 100% throttle and just go straight down a column. It kind of looks like it's falling down stairs, or it's kind of like cascading down a stairwell, if you will. So you're fighting a lot of variables is what I'm getting at. So to get it kind of close, it's really difficult. I'm still proud of this, to be honest with you, based on the difficulty level and the fact that we had to rush through this tune. And now mind you, this is only wide open throttle that we're showing you guys. This is not even the meat and potatoes. This isn't all the other throttle settings that we have to go through to tune this bike in. So with that being said, I'm still damn proud of it. I cannot wait to hear him. In fact, I'm gonna reach out to him later today. I'm gonna text the owner of the dealership and just say, hey man, how'd that customer like that bike? Because I'm super curious to see how it came. I got the privilege to ride one, that one that we talked about earlier in the video. We had a stock one that rolled in not too long ago, maybe, I don't know, maybe 3-4 months ago. We had a completely stock one, and we were supposed to do kind of this full build on it, but owner ended up pulling out of the project. He ended up pulling the plug on it due to some other reasons. But anyway, we got to ride it and at least test drive it completely stock, and the bike was an absolute blast to ride. I could not imagine with a full system and a flash and tune going out riding that bike. It's gotta be an absolute blast to ride that thing on the street. Even on the track, I believe that's what he was building this bike for, was just to have a fun little track bike. I could be wrong on that, but I think that was the case. So I'll have to reach back out, like I said, to that owner of the dealer and just ask him how everything came, ask him if the owner is enjoying the bike and whatnot, and report back to that. But anyway, I hope you guys really enjoyed this video. It was a ton of fun to make, to be honest with you. Even though we kind of rushed through it, it was still a blast to make it. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you do have a ZX-4RR and you are watching this, please let us play with it. Please call us. I would love to dive a little bit deeper into one of these and do a little bit more work. I want to hit up Graves because I know they already have a few things for this bike. So I would love to hit them up and do a little collaboration with them and see what kind of parts we can have made, or even prototype some parts to see if we can throw it in there and see what we can come up with. But if you do have one, hit us up on our website on provenpowercycles.com, www.provenpowercycles.com, or call the shop at 727-256-0001 and let us know if you got one. I would love to talk to you. And again, get that bike in here and do some mods to it ourselves so that we can see the true potential of those bikes. So hit us up. Thanks for viewing. Please smash that like and subscribe button. Hit us up, leave us some feedback. We love you guys. Peace.